Trump administration has rolled out a new asylum seeker rule. And this is a new immigration rule that would specifically target asylum seekers and make it nearly impossible to come to the United States and seek asylum. Now, let me just be clear before I go to the details of what he's trying to do here. In saying that seeking asylum is a legal means in which people become US citizens. And it is something that has been part of this country. It is something that is supposed to be adjudicated by immigration judges that Trump has no interest in appointing and has absolutely no respect for, considering his previous comments. But nonetheless, here's what Trump wants to do. Under the rule, with limited exceptions, refugees seeking asylum would have to do so in a third country through which they've transited rather than at the US border. So let's say you're coming from a Central American country and you're traveling through Mexico. You would have to seek asylum in Mexico before attempting to do so in the United States. Now, the other portion of this indicates that the rule is being issued by the Department of Justice and the Department of Health and Human Services and will go into effect on Tuesday of this week. Certain exceptions would apply, such as if a person was denied asylum in another country or is a victim of human trafficking. I want to skip ahead to graphic 4. There are going to be some legal challenges to this. Immigration attorneys and experts say the rule is a violation of domestic and international asylum laws. So what are those laws? Well, a representative from the ACLU indicates that we've actually had laws in place for quite some time now. And when you want to have migrants seek asylum in a third party or in a third country, you have to have an agreement with that third country. And of course, Trump doesn't care about planning, he doesn't care about strategy, he doesn't care about anything. So he's just decided to push forward with an executive order on this. And there are gonna be some issues. We have been expecting something along these lines for some time now. We believe that the rule is an end run around the asylum laws Congress has passed and should be invalidated as inconsistent with the immigration statute. And that's according to a representative from the ACLU. Columbia University law professor says, in our system of checks and balances, the code of federal regulations cannot be overwritten by executive fiat. The president can't just rewrite law, and I know that he's tried to do that a few times now. And then finally, the laws in place right now, known as the Immigrant Nationality Act, is what I was alluding to earlier. In the Immigrant Nationality Act, Congress established that the US can enter into safe third country agreements with other nations. The agreement would make it so that the third country would process asylum claims instead of the United States. Though Trump has discussed establishing third country agreements with Guatemala and Mexico, only one agreement currently exists, and it's with Canada. So these other countries have not agreed to this, and for Trump to just push forward with an executive order not only violates our system of checks and balances, but also, of course, is gonna frustrate our allies, and it just pushes forward with something that doesn't have an infrastructure or agreement in place to actually support it.
Give people a reason, other countries a reason to do this, you know? So I think they were trying to negotiate one, not Guatemala, but there was another country they were trying to negotiate one of these through, and one of the leaders jumped in and said, yeah, let's not do this. For whatever reason, that's how negotiations work. If you're trying to get something that's done, you actually have to talk to someone else and not go, I'm the United States of America, do whatever I tell you to do. That's been the approach with everything, from any kind of foreign policy there is. So again, when we see the videos as we've talked about, from when the Pence visited the border and we see the overcrowding of these facilities and it looks horrendous and we go, what can we do about it? There's other things to be done. There's other normal legal ways that have been set in place because people have thought about this before. And instead of carrying those out, you just bully your way through and go, I'm gonna do whatever I want because I'm the president of the United States of America. And that's this third grade approach to everything. So when adults are around, they go, I'm not gonna work with this third grader. That's gonna destroy anything that I'm trying to do. You can't make an agreement with someone who doesn't know how to carry out his end of the bargain, which we see he has that problem in everything he's done in every business he's ever carried out in the first place. So I think people can see where this could run into a problem. And then this is something else that's exacerbating the problem at the border as well. There's multiple factors, but no one really knows about it because all we say is rapists, drug dealers, killers. End of story. Candle of calves.
This is cruel. It's just cruel, and that's the point. But even saying, someone who claims to be fearing for their life. I don't think it's fair that they stay in this country while we decide if they are indeed in fear of their life. That is horrible.
Well, I mean, he doesn't even care. The Trump administration doesn't care if people are fearing for their lives or if they're going to deal with maybe political persecution in the countries that they come from. They don't care. I mean, Trump has been on the record on multiple occasions saying that he does not see the need for immigration judges. That's because he doesn't believe in due process. He just doesn't want people to come in. Now, if you're an attractive Eastern European woman that he could maybe marry or date or cheat on his wife with, well then maybe, arrangements can be made. But when it comes to people who are desperate, who literally have their children in tow and are seeking asylum, doesn't even want to adjudicate those cases, doesn't even want to hear their case. All he wants is to prevent them from coming into the country. And by the way, is this the art of the deal? I mean, is the art of the deal to just unilaterally make a decision without even talking to the other side, without even negotiating with the countries that you want these migrants to just remain in? No.
Trump spoke before about asylum and he said it's a fake deal. These guys come up and they have attorneys and they tell them what to do. Asylum is fake. We know how Stephen Miller feels about any kind of immigration. And we also heard last week about how Tucker Carlson feels about immigration when he was bashing Representative Omar. So he said, we need to rethink our entire immigration policy, which means zero immigration from certain parts of the world. Those parts being the ones that they're attempting to block right now. We see how Fox News policy then transfers into this president going, let me put something in place because I'm the president, based off of what racists have to say. It's all connected. So when somebody first says, I hate brown people, and we go, hey, that's a problem, you go, oh, they're just talking. That leads to something, it leads to them, then that hateful mindset being filtered through the entire country and then being spoken by people on TV, which leads to the president of the United States then carrying out policies that will implement hatred towards brown people because they must be doing something fake because they're only here to hurt us. That's the thought process, and it starts from just one hateful thought.
Like what you see? Click the subscribe button below and don't forget to ring the bell to never miss another video from the Young Turks.